What's going on, Packers Nation? Welcome back to another video of Packers Latest. I am your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date with the latest news on the green and gold Green Bay Packers. A happy Friday to all of you watching out there. We are just one day away from the Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears Saturday night, January 10th, 7 p.m. Central Time kickoff. It should be a fun one. A huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, turn on a notification bell so you can stay up to date on when these videos go live. And if you're a returner, I welcome you back as well. Once again, a huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Going to start this one off talking about the injury report for the Packers this week. Their final injury report just came in and 6 players are listed as questionable. Still going to read the injury report as a whole. Starting off, Aaron Banks, he should be good to go. He was just resting on Tuesday and Wednesday. He didn't practice those days just because of rest, but Thursday he was limited. He's not listed as one of those 6 questionable players, so it seems like he'll be good to go. Warren Brinson battling that foot injury. He's been limited Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. He is one of those 6 questionable players listed. Javon Bullard, who we saw get injured in that Week 18 game against Minnesota with that knee injury, he's been limited all 3 days and will be questionable. You go to Edgerrin Cooper with that shoulder injury, was limited Tuesday, but was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday. He should be good to go. Matthew Golden with that Achilles injury was a full participant on all Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so he should be good to go. Nick Neiman with that pectoral injury, he's limited Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. He's questionable for this game, but signs seem to be leaning towards him being good to go. That would be a huge guy to get back, especially for that special teams department. You go to Zach Tom battling both that back and knee injury. He was limited Tuesday and Wednesday, but then did not participate in practice on Thursday and will be listed as questionable. This is definitely the name to circle on this injury report. Zach Tom for this Packers offensive line is a huge upgrade. Would really like to get him in there. You obviously don't want to force him back and have him re-hurt himself, especially being hurt with a back and knee injury. But man, Zach Tom is definitely a big piece on that offensive line. Go to Lucas Van Ness with that foot injury. He was in full participation Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and is good to go. Dontavian Wicks with that concussion. He's been limited all 3 days and listed as questionable. And rounding it out, Malik Willis with that right shoulder and hamstring injury was limited all 3 days and is listed as questionable. Desmond Ridder will be the backup to Jordan Love if Willis is not good to go for Saturday. So, something to note, the most recent game the Packers played against the Bears, they needed to get to that backup, and it was Willis who played very well. But if Willis is out, it will be probably the most pressure game outside maybe his college football playoff game at Cincinnati that Ridder will have to face. Hopefully you don't have to think about that. You want Love in there all 4 quarters. Hopefully he's good to go and avoids injury this time around. But I'm going to move on to the weather for this game. I think this is a big thing to discuss. It's a windy and snowy mix expected for Saturday at time of recording. This is Friday morning. So again, things could change over the next 24 hours and plus since it's a night game. I'm going hour by hour starting at kickoff on 7 p.m. This is per AccuWeather, where I'm getting these numbers. At kickoff has it at 33 degrees with the real feel of 18 degrees. It says flurries is what it has it listed. Wind at 16 miles an hour with gusts up to 33. You go to 8 p.m., about similar. Go to 9 p.m., about similar. Go to 10 p.m., the real feel has dropped to 14 degrees. And again, this wind sitting between 15 and 16 miles an hour with the gusts between 29 and 33 from 7 to 10. If it's a late game and it gets into 11 p.m., the real feel has dropped to 12 with the wind gusts still sitting similar. And it looks like those flurries might go away by 11 p.m., but still, nonetheless, lots of wind chill. Looks like flurries. Again, flurries could be very light snow. Who knows? It doesn't really say like 3 to 5 inches or anything nuts. It truly just seems like flurries. And the true temperature from 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, it goes 33, 32, 31, 29, 28. So who knows if it'll truly be cold enough for flurries, or if it'll be kind of that slushy mix. Definitely not pretty weather to play in nonetheless. That is something to note for these two teams. They both played in, no snow in those 2 games they played this season. Definitely, was a little bit colder, but still, that is something to note. We're going to get into today's sponsor for this video. A huge shout out, as always, to Underdog Fantasy. Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at this Packers and Bears game, and I'm selecting Jordan Love over 223.5 passing yards and lower than a half interception. I feel like The Packers are going to walk away with the win. Love's going to have to clean up the turnovers and have 0 of those. And I feel like he's going to have to sling the ball despite the weather being, a little bit iffy. That could definitely have some effects, but I'm going higher than 223.5 passing yards and lower than a half interception. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FootballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FootballFan. Underdog, make picks, win money. Again, Jordan Love, I feel like will be a huge key to the game, but let's get into what I think the other keys of the game will be for this one. Kind of, I'm going to have 1 point on one side and kind of flip it to the other for the Packers. Starting off with stopping the run. That's focusing on the Packers defense and this run game. The Bears averaged the 3rd most rushing yards per game this season at 144.5. And if this weather is not very pretty to throw in, you know that they're going to prioritize that run. In the first game when they played the Packers, where the Packers came away with a win, the Bears had 32 carries for 138 yards and no touchdowns. That's just 4.3 yards per carry. Did not allow anyone on that ground game or even Caleb Williams to run one into the end zone. And again, 138 yards, still a sizable amount, but lower than their season average. In the most recent matchup where Chicago won that game, they had 26 carries for 150 yards, which is 5.8 yards per carry. They were running through that Packers defense with ease. Did not end up getting a rushing touchdown in that, but it set them up pretty well to win that game. Gonna flip it on the other side to the run for the offensive side for the Packers. They need to establish the run. In the first game, when they beat the Bears, the Packers as a team had 26 carries for 117 yards. That's just 4.5 yards per carry, which isn't that great, but they did get a touchdown. 20 of those 26 carries came from Josh Jacobs. 86 of those 117 yards came from Jacobs, and that touchdown came from Jacobs. You look at the second game, they had 44 carries in this one for 192 yards. So again, not great average yards per carry. This one just 4.4 yards per carry. Willis had 44 of those yards on 10 carries. So, unlikely Willis will be in this game Saturday. So you take him away, the ground game not really that pretty, and they did not find the end zone. So again, definitely something to note. You got to stop the run. You got to establish the run. We're going to talk about turnovers now. A big key for the Packers. Get a turnover. In the first matchup this season, the Packers intercepted Caleb Williams, which won them the game. They got a turnover in that, ended up being the game winner. Huge for the Packers. You go in the most recent matchup where they lost to Chicago. They did not cause a single turnover, and that was definitely a big kicker in that one. Go to the other side of it. Eliminate the turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. Chicago leads the NFL in total interceptions. I believe that number's at 23 they got on the season. So again, Jordan Love, I got him lower than a half an interception on Underdog Fantasy. Feel like he's going to have to really take care of that football. The Packers cannot turn it over if they want to win. I know it sounds so obvious. You can say that for any game, but seriously, very, very, very important for this Green Bay team. I feel like, with the choppy weather, these could be long drives for both sides. And, if you get a long drive going and then you turn it over, like we saw in Chicago, where the Packers got that drive, turned it over in the red zone on that fumble from Jacobs, that could cause a lot of negatives on the other side. So you got to take care of the football outside of just Jordan Love. Got to do the same on the kick returns, punt returns, running it. Got to take care of the football. But that's going to get me into my final predictions for this game. And man, I'm nervous for it. I'm excited. I don't really know how to feel. I just hope it's a really good game. I mean, I feel like the hype around this one is nuts. I need to check what the ticket prices were, but they weren't even close to any other wild card playoff game. I mean, this is one of the most anticipated games between the two teams since that NFC Championship game back in 2010-2011 season. I'm going to go with a final score prediction. I don't do this, guys. I usually just kind of pick a key player, on offense, defense, pick a touchdown score. I'm going to give you my score prediction. I'm going to go 24-20 Green Bay. Got to give them confidence. You got to hope the Packers win. I mean, I got fingers crossed for this one. I feel like there's a chance. It's just so hard because this team's been so injured. We really haven't, and Jordan Love hasn't played since they last played Chicago. The Packers' last win, their most recent win, I should say, came against Chicago. Chicago's most recent win came against Green Bay. So there's lots of mix-up here, and I think it's going to be a very closely contested game. The Packers open up as 1.5-point favorites. That line may have shifted with how many, with what people are picking for this game, but still expected to be very, very close nonetheless. And again, 24 points. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal. I got it. So I'm trusting Brandon McManus to go 3 for 3 on extra points and put another one through the uprights. And for Chicago, that's 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So who knows if the weather gets bad, if many field goals will be attempted, this score could look completely different than what I'm expecting. But I'm going 24 Packers, 20 Bears. Going to pick a touchdown scorer, though, like I always do for every game, and I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. He talked about establishing the run. Jacobs has not really had a pretty last couple of games, especially that one against Chicago, not getting a touchdown, and when he was in the red zone, fumbling it. It's a big bounce back game for him. He was talking about how his knee feels the best it has in the past 6 weeks. And I feel like the Packers, especially with this weather being bad, if they want to run it a lot more, it's got to be in the hands of your RB1, who you're paying the big bucks, Josh Jacobs. So he's my touchdown scorer in my prediction of the Packers winning 24-20. But again, it will be hopefully a tightly contested battle. I mean, both games really coming down to the last play, an interception in the end zone for Green Bay and a deep ball touchdown for Chicago. So will it go down to the wire like that again? Who knows? Definitely the expectations are there, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that's all I got for this episode of Packers Latest. I appreciate you tuning in as always. I might have an episode tomorrow for game day, but if I don't, I'll make sure to see you Sunday nonetheless. It's an exciting one. Cheer on your Packers, wear your cheeseheads, do everything that you do for, the Packer playoff spirits. Maybe I'll put that cheese head, or I guess this finger, there we go, a cheese head behind me on for some good luck. We'll see, but I'll definitely be decked out and ready to go. Should be an exciting one. Appreciate you tuning in all season long on this coverage for the Green Bay Packers. Hoping the road does not end Saturday night, but nonetheless, I've appreciated all the support you guys have given throughout these videos. Should be exciting, but as always, go Pack, go.